am the OG prison wife. I've been a prison wife to a man that is wrongfully incarcerated for the last 23, going on 24 years, really soon. So I'm just coming in before doing all my endless to-do list. Um, I just recorded an excellent video, and wouldn't you know it, there was something on my shirt, something on my face. Ugh, literally, I want to bring y'all content. I want to tell this story. I want to break wrongful convictions, but I don't always like how I come across on camera. I'm very self critical of me. That comes from, and I'm trying to get over that, but it comes from being bullied for much of my childhood. Um, really, my whole childhood, I was bullied for being different. So when I come across not perfect, it really bothers and frustrates me. Of course, we live in a society where you have to be picture perfect to be able to say two words out your mouth, which they literally should not, go at each other. Like, did they need Harriet Tubman to be picture perfect to free people through the Underground Railroad? Was that necessary? So literally, it's difficult for me because I don't live a perfect lifestyle. I don't live an Instagrammable life. Um, I'm not always on point. I'm not always on fleek. But there's always a thought and a process and a story that I need to get out. So many times I come in my imperfections, most times in my imperfections, to bring you content. But this video just, the look of it just did not. I tried to put it out. I did put it out, and then I made it, you know, instantly made it private. So we're gonna listen to it though. I think the listening, it was really good. So we're gonna listen to it, and we're also going to work on 1250 podcast. So maybe that'll give me a chance to finish this because I never would have broke out this board had that picture came out correct. I would have just I honestly would have just released a video like that and been done. But now I guess we're killing allegedly two birds with one stone. So let's listen to the video, and I don't have to chime in because I already said what I said. All right. Yes, in Canada, I'm a drama like prison life. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping, because you got to hold your breath. Keep holding your breath for justice. I'm hoping to see justice before it all fades to black. That's some good. His nigga Canada. Anyways, it is, oh yes, February the 23rd, 2026. This is the picture we're doing. I'm just about to get ready for my tax appointment. Girl, I'm dreading it because I know I owe taxes and owe back this year, so. But usually I file like the last day on the day of the deadline. So, and I'm scrambling, so I'm trying to get myself out of living in that mode. I am basically trying to, while I'm trying to free my husband from his wrongful conviction, I'm also trying to free myself from this alleged matrix, right? So one of the things that keeps me strapped to this matrix is the lack of time in putting, and I also have ADHD, so I put things off to the last minute. So, but even if I did not have ADHD, still things would be pushed off to the last minute because there's literally too much to do and no time to do it at all. We are literally running a rat race, like going on a treadmill and going nowhere, tired but haven't accomplished or covered any ground. So I'm gonna, before I do that, I was scrolling, checking out my Facebook. So I'm about to get in the shower and I'm like, hold on, this is something I have covered. Once again, we're back to this group, Facebook group. I am literally locked out of my Facebook, so I am viewing it through my daughter's Facebook. So it's the group Inside Out. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I tell you this is at 1250 Podcast? That is his channel. Please check it out. He does a lot about injustice. Family Prison Group LLC. This is where I'm getting this post from. And I literally, they say all the things I've been saying, and then when you hear it said by somebody else, it basically it basically reassures that you're not crazy. You're on the right track. Okay, so I see this post. And you know that caught my attention. You already know that. Okay, so that was weird, so I don't even know, but it cut off. Like literally just, that's the enemy. He literally likes these wrongful convictions. And he likes for you to think that they don't happen. He likes for you to stay in your own little box and only care about you, not knowing that we're all connected. And when you allow justice to happen to me and my family, it in turn allowed to happen to you and your family. Maybe in a different way. Maybe it's not mass incarceration. Maybe it is. This is so aggravating. And it's a number I don't know. I literally cannot even volume down. I'm literally trying to record just a couple minute video. And it is so much warfare around this, y'all. This is what I really just want this battle to be done. Because nothing about this battle is easy. Not one aspect. Not even posting a video about it is easy. Okay, so let's get it. Not only do I have the injustice system against me, I have the enemy against me as well. He does not want this truth out, allegedly. Okay. Inside Out Family Prison Group LLC. The sentence no one talks about. What incarceration does to children. You know, me and my daughter were basically working on a children's book, Daddy Daughter Dance. With her feelings about her father, she grew up with her father incarcerated wrongfully from age 9 months till she's 24 years old now. And now we are taking our grandchildren to see her father, their grandfather. Okay. And they love their grandfather so much. When Marcello is transferred, our granddaughter and grandson, they realize that, hey, we're not seeing granddad every week. What's going on? Like, it affects these children. When someone goes to prison, the sentence doesn't stop at the prison gate. If I had a parent incarcerated, 5 million, and y'all don't care about reform, honestly, that sounds like a lot of households. Broken households. And even if it didn't touch your household, those broken households, the trauma they went through and the ways that they put that trauma back into society has affected you, though you think it doesn't. Okay. More than 5 million children in the United States have had a parent incarcerated at some point in their lives. That's not a statistic. That's a generation growing up inside uncertainty, silence, and loss they didn't earn. Children lose parents overnight. Yes, I drew that picture where my daughter was basically jumping at a several-inch thick glass. And she was looking at her father like, Daddy, why won't you get me? And every time she jumped at the glass, she stopped by this thick glass. I drew that. The next time that our daughter seen her father behind the glass, that's when she was 9 months, was when she was about 16 years old. And he was transferred to a maximum security prison. and visitation was behind the glass. And she was like, oh my gosh, it looks like a pound. She literally walked in. You have inmates, or we call them incarcerated citizens, all in the window doing whatever, making faces, all types of stuff. And she was like, some of them were just so sad. Her dad was shackled. His hands were shackled. His feet were shackled. She had never seen him shackled. And she seen her father in that manner where she could actually remember. And you tell me slavery was long ago? It's still happening. And she was like, oh my. And that's why we can't just get over it. It is so sad. And then her hand, just as, big as his that time, was able to press against the glass. And that's all you really have. But it affects them overnight. No warning, no explanation, because what do you tell your child? That makes sense to a 6-year-old. One day there's a bedtime routine. Well, my daughter didn't even get to 6. He was wrongfully arrested when I got off bed rest. Like literally 2 months into her life, this started. I wish she had until 6, but. And there's those that are pregnant when their loved one is incarcerated. So they don't even have that. So I have to be grateful for that. Marcello was there at her birth, and definitely would have been there for the birth of his grandchildren, which was taken of him because he's wrongfully incarcerated. But he would surely been there. One day there's bedtime routine. The next day there's a phone call, a call schedule, and a drive to a facility hours away. That is how we stay the family through bars. It is very expensive and taxing on the family to make it to those visitations. When you first start the sentence, he's going to be placed, he or she, your loved one, is going to be placed far away from your home. You need gas money, which is a lot. If you don't drive, it's very difficult. You're going to have to find a driving buddy. You're going to have to pay somebody to take you. It's very difficult. It's the gas, it's the rental cars. When this happened to me, I was underage. I was charged more for being underage to rent a car because I did not have a good working car to take up and down the road. And then by going that far, you're going to need hotel stay money, which now hotels are very, very, very expensive. You're staying in itchy bed or rinky-dink hotels or hotels in the middle of nowhere where you don't know if these people like you or not. I have been in some forest areas where it wasn't even safe for me and my daughter to stay the night to see her father, but your car to break down in. And you definitely need to make sure you're inside before sundown. Like, these are the things we had to go through. And then after that, you need the food for your stay, the food during visitation, which was commissary, which was much more affordable, even though it was still overpriced. But now you got the vending machine food that is really overpriced, and your price for visitation food went from maybe $20 per visit. If you have family, it could have been $40. Now it's easily $60, $70 per visit for those vending machine meals, which are very much more limiting. No coffee, no noodles, no condiments that really, like, you just got mustard, ketchup, stuff like that. No ranch packages, very limiting, but very expensive. So total that up, and that is the cost. And in between visits, the expensive phone calls that have escalated in price. Before, they used to be cheaper when your loved one is housed closer to home. Now, they have made where there's a connection fee, no matter how close to home. Calls went from, when Marcello was close to home, from 50 cents. That is how he was able to call back to back to back to help our daughter with her homework. Oh, brings me to something else. You could get letters. Money used to send Marcello her homework in the mail, or I'll send a copy of it, and they would work on her homework together over the phone. You can no longer send mail. You have to send pictures, and you have to make emails, and it's all via computer. So he wouldn't be able to do that in this day and age with his granddaughter, the way he was able to do with his daughter. Um, so much. And to add all that up, that is costing the loved one on the outside immensely. But the loved one on the outside feels caught because that is the person they love. And there's a price to pay. So I have to figure out how to pay this price. It very much feels like RANSOM. It feels like that you took my loved one and now I have to pay you out the yin yang for any connection. But we do it. That's how I raised my daughter. Much of my wealth that I should have in my pocket and would have had to take care of our daughter was put into the system over decades, and I wasn't the only one. So this is just showing you how much money they're making off of this issue. This is why reform comes slow or not at all, because it's too much money coming in, allegedly. But you still think is to keep you safe. They broke our family, put an innocent person in prison allegedly, so you can be safe. And they can make money in the meanwhile, allegedly. We call incarceration accountability. But what crime did the child commit? It furthers, and children of incarcerated parents have greater statistics over them of being on substances, of being incarcerated themselves. It's a generational curse. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta check on my clothes in the dryer. I'll be right back. Kids absorb the stress. My daughter, they used to call me so many times in the sticks and you gotta come get your daughter. She's crying uncontrollably. I just want my daddy. And it's nothing to do for her. She even one day when I came with my cousin that just passed away to pick her up from school, she came rushing out of the car with the kids and said, see guys, I do have a daddy, pretending my cousin was her father. It causes so much on them. That's why I need to get this children's book out so that these children coming up can see you're not alone. My daughter felt alone. She knew no other soul in this situation. And it affected her. And it affected me watching her suffer, and I could do nothing but pay the exorbitant prices. Adults try to hide. Kids absorb the stress. Adults try to hide, right? We gotta always be good. You can't tell nobody because people are blaming you. And missed calls feel like abandonment. Canceled visits feel like rejection. Lockdowns feel like they're personal, even when they're procedural. Children learn not to ask questions. They're afraid to answer. My daughter learned how to just detach. Just to act as though she doesn't care when she deeply cared. It played out in her school life, it played out in her home life. It really affected her. And I know it's my fault. It's his fault because he should have never did what he did, and it's my fault because I'm supporting a criminal. But how is it her fault? Schools are built to support them. Social systems barely acknowledge them. Like I told you, they didn't know what to do. Like, he should have never did what he did, allegedly. And policymakers rarely mention them unless it's during election season. But they love to say the father is gone. Where is the father? Where's many of these fathers? Because my father was in my life, but my her father was in her life until they stole him. They allegedly snatched him out of her life. But they don't mention that. They just mention the absentee father. But where are many of these fathers? That's why when they had that daddy-daughter dance at Angola, most were like, oh, I would never. And that's because you never had to. But the minute you have to, you would. But that's why that was a good thing. Many of those girls got to feel normal for just one moment. Normal. Trauma is quiet. It's really shut up. It ain't too quiet because you get tired of trying to tell your story to people and people just are not receiving of you the moment they hear prison. So it's not that you're just being quiet, you're being shut up. He has to do his time. He should have never did the crime, which he didn't do the crime. So it's actually a crime allegedly done against him. But it's so crazy. That's why I'm very much liken it to narcissism, our narcissistic system. Narcissist. The trauma is quiet. It doesn't show up in headlines, no, because they don't want to report on that because that would make it actually true. As long as we don't report it, allegedly it doesn't happen. Just like wrongful convictions don't happen because we just don't report them. But go to Google, start searching yourself and see how many of these wrongful convictions that don't happen. Also, while you're at it, Google the amount of people that are allegedly wrongfully convicted every day. Wait 1 second. Yes, but please do that homework if you could, so that you're just not taking my complaints, because I just be complaining. Um, sorry, my phone is loading. But please do your own research. Let's see this for ourselves. See it with your own eyes. How many people and how it happens so often. It is not a mistake, allegedly. They purposely wrongfully convict people. Um, and it's not to keep you safe. I'm sorry to tell you that. Allegedly, it is not to keep you safe. I mean, if you are safe, or because of it, it wasn't their goal. That was just something that by chance happened. It says at least, go ahead, because they're not in your news allegedly, so they're not true. Sorry, it's just loading. Go find it. Find out for yourself. Okay. No, I don't want to play it on. It shows up years later as anxiety, yes. Anger, like I just said, depression, yes. Trust issues. Could this be a reason why mental health issues are on the rise? Could this be a possible contributing factor? And also, they try to deal with a lot of mental health issues by incarcerating the people, which in incarceration is not rehabilitation. There's no rehabilitation there. If the person is rehabilitated through incarceration, it is because that individual took it upon themselves to try to better themselves. My daughter ended up in abusive relationships behind this. Yes. Cycles and cycles the system pretends are coincidences. So very much a lot of the things that happen in my daughter's life and others was perpetuated by this cycle of incarceration that is supposed to be keeping you safe, but it's perpetuating cycles that could end the next generation. There are generations that are in prison, right? Generations. Okay, we say prison is about public safety. I couldn't have, I'm sure I wrote this, but I didn't. I could have wrote this. But destabilizing children creates the opposite. It really does, and I wish y'all would listen. There is no national strategy for supporting children. I wanted to do that. I actually wanted a bill where you took my other half that was supposed to help me raise my child. So you should be supplementing what you took. But I was quickly told, no, nobody supports that and this and that, which was crazy because the person that told me that, because I was asking for support in trying to get that, up and going, when I was rapping, they told me no, they didn't support that. But later, actually ran, and that was one of their talking points. I'm like, are we in a fight somewhere? I'm like, is this opposite day? There's no national strategy for supporting children of the incarcerated. No coordinated mental health response, right? Because this is all inflicted on you. You caused this trauma, basically. The family caused this on themselves. So whatever the residuals of, like I did a video, the residuals of my husband's wrongful conviction, it compounds and it lasts through a lifetime. It's very difficult to get over, but I'm still, with the grace of God, the Most High is bringing me through and over it. But this is decades later, 24 years later. There's no national strategy for supporting children of incarcerated, no coordinated mental health response, no requirement that family impacted be considered when sentences are handed down. Nope. They claim they're giving these sentences.
And they allege they doing it all on behalf of the victim allegedly, but many times the victims don't even get justice from these sentencing. So who are they really doing it for allegedly?
For accountability, my husband got 40 years for an alleged robbery of $80. 60, 80, because they initially lied and said he took 80. When he was searched, they found that he only had 60, and the officers gave those sworn affidavits back to the people that were never robbed but said they were robbed. So gave it back to them and said, we need you to cross out 80 and write in 60 so that the money can align. Boom, it aligns now, even though you see a line through it, and it was questioned during trial. Like, who just crosses out and writes in the right answer? That's like taking a test, and after your teacher grades you, you cross out all the wrong answers, write in the right answers, and then see, I passed. How? That doesn't even make sense. That was his own money that he just cashed. That was his money. Marcello is incarcerated for having $60 in his pocket while being BLK for 40 years. Okay. Just silence and consequences deferred. In America, allegedly, we punish children without conviction, without due process, and without accountability. And this is why we want second look bills, where we can look in many of these convictions would not even pass the smell test. And now that we have DNA, a whole heap of them wouldn't.
This is why they obstruct and make it so difficult to open these cases because they know what lies within. Allegedly, remember Dahmer, right? He didn't want nobody to come in his apartment and look through his freezers, right? Because what would they find? What was going to allegedly be found if we searched his apartment? If you search these convictions allegedly, what would you find? You're going to surprisingly find many innocent alleged bodies decaying behind bars allegedly. And then they wonder why the cycle continues. They don't wonder. They want that cycle allegedly because that's a money cycle. They're gonna act in your face allegedly that we can't understand why we can't keep y'all safe, but we're doing our job and doing the best that we can. Okay, give me a second. If incarceration is truly about justice, it's not, allegedly. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. But you'll never believe me, so we might as well leave that out. If incarceration is truly about justice, then explain why children are still paying for crimes they didn't commit. So now let's get to the comments. Oh, that's where you love to look at the comment section. Now I see something that says, and imagine what it does to kids when that particular parent is innocent, but being blamed, and you're
See how those of the loved ones of innocent incarcerated are always crying out, but they're being drowned out as well as they're crying out.
she says, your autistic baby girl is asking, where is daddy?
That's sad.
Wow. If I could reach out to her, I can share her story. And I'm sure she needs her father home. A child with special needs? I helped raise my sister with special needs. You need all the help you can get, and she's a single mother now. And when he's coming home, he read her a book every night and tucked her in. She's truly daddy's.
That's
Wow. That is crazy.
I think that was about it. It stopped. I think that was the end of it. Is that the end of the video?
Wow. All right, guys. That's another issue. You don't care about if it's not touching your home, but it is affecting you. If you got this far in the video, please like it, share it. I usually don't ask that, but I'm trying to scale this, not for my behalf, but for behalf of people just like the comment I just read. There are others affected by this. All right, guys, it's your girl Cadillac.
And with that said, I am just about done here with 1250 Podcast. Just gotta finish the microphone and then I gotta do blending. We can do that possibly. I don't know if I'm gonna have time today. I didn't have time today, but I made time because I really enjoyed this video, but I did not like how I looked on camera. All right, guys, I will try to be more accepting of myself. I have a gift, even though sometimes I don't like the gift wrap, what the gift is wrapped in. All right, it's your girl Cadillac.